Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Dunamis Webcast. This is Joshua here and you're going to watch me code for the next 10 minutes. In this episode, we'll continue with the service layer. Any application goes beyond just simple CRUD operations to implement all its functionality. The elements that we are designing is fairly simple, but there are two functionality for which we need to write the code. One is to enroll a student to a course, and second is when a student completes a content. We will be writing two methods, one to enroll a student to a course in the enrollment service, and the second a method to mark a content as complete in the enrollment status service. We'll now write the method to enroll a student to the course. We look at enrollment, it has a student and a course. So this is going to take as parameter the student and course, and there's one more thing we need to do beyond saving an enrollment is creating records in the enrollment status table for us to be able to track the status of the contents. It is going to list all the content within the course, but if we look at the content table, it doesn't have the course ID. So we go ahead and create a new method in the repository which says find all by module course ID. If we want to fetch the course ID, it's going to come from the module table, and this method is going to work. And so what we do is first we go ahead and create the enrollment, we save it, and we get the enrollment object. Then we get all the content based on the course ID, and we loop through that and create records in enrollment status. So we first set the content from each element in this array, and then we set the enrollment and we set is completed false and save the record. Now when there's a student who registers, immediately it's going to create records to track status with the completion status as false, and the student will go ahead and mark it as complete one by one. Let's try and test this method. In the course table we have course ID 1 Java, which has modules domain and JPA, and there are content for each module. There is a PDF file, a PPT file, and so on. Now we'll define the method to mark the enrollment status as complete for content. So we have the method defined, mark complete by ID. The implementation of this method is like this. We find the enrollment status record by ID, we set the is completed to true, and we save it and return the enrollment status. Let's test this by calling the method for enrollment status ID number 5. We can see that for ID 5 it is complete as false. Now it's been set to true. Similarly, on the screen the student can go and mark one by one as true, and we can track the status of the course that way. That brings us to the end of this episode. What we did was we created a service layer that performed CRUD operations for us on all the objects in the domain model, and we wrote a couple of methods which we will use for functionality within the learning management system. That brings us to the end of this episode and to the end of the service layer. In the next episode, we'll be covering the REST layer. See you soon.